Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Have the Race Gone for the TSR Tuesdays, the traditional TSR Tuesdays that is. Right about now we're running the GT86 Cup. We're at the second round from Suzuka here. We had an unfortunate postponement last week because of some server related issues, but it is a grand pleasure of mine being here with you all. Evening to you early joiners, Piosko, Ryan, and the Rapid Gator himself. Nice to have you along, and I hope we're in for a race that presents us with the same kind of excellent racing that we saw on display last week at Interlagos. We have a Splurge, we have White Flight on the grid. Racing for Cyan, of course, it's a one-make series, but it's part up into three makes. We have the Toyotas, obviously. We have the Cyans, as one of the White Flight drives one of them. We have Subarus as well. It's a kind of a nice little catch here. Qualifying is taking place in 5 minutes time, and we're running 3 times tires and 2 times fuel here for a 35 lap race here from Suzuka. Here another one of the first timers out here in this series, at least. TX3 Limitless subbing in for Dr. Hash. We of course have Sam Digby, one of the well-known faces here in the TSR series. We have race driver Obi-Wan, who will be hoping to utilize the Force here tonight. I'm sorry that I'll give myself a yellow card for such a bad pun. Hello, Bambi! Nice to have you along. I know it's not evening in the States, but I guess it's good afternoon for you then. We've got Martin as well, racing in the sweet-ass cam hatch car. Lovely as always. Shosse with a nice reminder of that himself as a winner of the first round. Martin finishing second, and Wake finishing third, is running success ballast. That's a very good, very solid point to make as well, indeed. T5 Black, the Swedish survivor. Let's see if it'll be the hashtag that is P5 for T5. It seems to have happened on a number of occasions before. We of course have the organizing lads, that's Stick and I think Welsh as well is on the grid. We have Shosse winning out last week. We have the witty Professor Joe of the Fire in the pits at the moment. We have Jimmy here as well, and a couple of other guys who I don't think is on the track at the moment. But nice, Bambi, nice of you to pop in and say hello and enjoy the yard work, if that's even enjoyable. I get pictures of you doing gardening work, but I don't. Oh. I'm supposed to be the one of us who's good at reading chat. That myth has just been debunked, I guess. But sad to hear you're not with us tonight, Welsh. But of course, happy to hear about you joining the club of lads with proper internet. Myself being one of them now. Fiber Boy is here, and I'm certainly enjoying that. Still watching Ryan here. Ryan, newly joining the TSR team, the newest recruitee, so to say, and he's done very well for himself here in practice. Oh, was that Limitless with a big off there. Here is Obi-Wan with a purple sector 1. No rhyme intended. Obi-Wan. What's up, Mavericks? It is a pleasure to have you along. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're ready for some TSR action here in this wonderful Tuesday evening. As the heat wave, at least here in Denmark, seems to be on a decline, which also means in turn we'll be having rain. And who is TX3 Limitless? He's subbing in for Dr. Hash. My guess would be that he's a TX3 driver. Sorry, that's my second yellow card. That means I should have given myself a red card by now, but since I'm the only one here, well, tough luck. Secret agent. It's the secret Dr. Hash. The witty professor, having put in the third fastest time so far here in practice. Let's see how it goes for Obi-Wan. Throws it into the Casio triangle. And just about doesn't make it. Since it is qualifying time, ladies and gentlemen, Super Pole is about to happen. And of course, as always with these TSR Super Poles, it is just one lap to make it count. So pressure is on here. Pressure is really on indeed. Chassis out super quickly on track here. PS4 Pro quickly, might I say. We had a race covered here not too long ago with the VRR Super GT Suzuka 500. So I should have everything, all the details, well, not all the details around the track, but most of the details in Czech corner names and such. Although I am quite familiar with this place, one of my personal favorite tracks to race on. Although it has to be said, it's not always the best track racing-wise for higher downforce cars, but in the GT4s here, I think we're in for an excellent show. I think it's going to be a great one. Chassis, the first one on track. We have Ryan T5 Black, we have White Flight, and Jimmy. Joining track as well is Joe of the Fire this very moment. Hello, Martin, and welcome to you. Nice to have you along. Jimmy in the 93 machine here. Not what you want to do in the SS here on your warm-up lap, Jimmy. Chassis taking the warm-up part of this lap very seriously indeed. Of course, there is also a bit of mandingo with the tires here in this series. As always with the TSR, what would it be without a little bit of things to consider? And so you can use every compound, but the mediums and the softs can only be used once in a race. Oh yeah. Tire Mandingo, that's a new one. So Chassis here on his flyer, and Ryan's upon it as well. He's really unlucky to encounter some traffic here up through the S's as Ryan throws it on through. Let's go on board for the first piece of onboard action here for tonight. The last part of the S is coming up towards Dunlop. Of course, so important to do exactly what Ryan does here. Keep the car to the right to be able to take Dunlop more or less flat out, even in these cars. And here comes Halbstag as well. Nice to see the German joining in at this late stage. Just about making qualifying, I guess. Hopefully they're not getting too much in the way. Chassis just having made it out the hairpin. I'm gonna try to have a look at the times at the end of the second sector, and that's that has the timing split right before 1:30 hour here, as Schuss is making his way through. Spoon seems to be very neat and tidy. Meets the exit, meets the apex of the corner. Seems very smooth indeed, and he is a fast boy, the German, the TX3 driver, known to be swift. 146 dead here, so let's go hop on to Ryan. Let's see what he gets. Although I think it's a lot quicker though, or is it? Although we didn't get that time. That's somewhat frustrating, to be honest. Anyway, we'll get it on the line here for Schosse. And anything 206 is really fast. It's going to be his 207.3 for Schosse. That's pretty good indeed. Ryan has been purple on this lap, so what will it be for him as he crosses the line? He will go purple with a 206.999. Just making it into the 206's TSR Ryan. Brilliant here on his, I was about to say his debut, of course it isn't his debut, but it is his Have the Race Gone debut. White Flight is next up to cross the line, so what will it be for him? He has about 2 seconds left now. I don't think he's gonna make it, he isn't. It's gonna be third best for him. And he's about a second off Schosse at the moment. T5 Black, it's gone much worse for him. He's 2.5 seconds down on pole setting time. Here comes Jimmy through 130R. And here into the braking zone here, of course. ABS on weak, that's very much worth noticing. Making every braking zone all the harder. And Jimmy, it's certainly not been the perfect lap for him as well, as he goes 3.5 seconds down, but that's the name of the game with these super pole sessions. Here comes Joe off the fire, that's somewhat better, and he goes third fastest. 2 seconds off Schosse there, 0.5 second off Ryan. Comfortably, though, in front of the next car at the moment. Here's TSR Stick. And the very nice De Aqua machine. I have to say, I'm a big fan of this livery. I think it looks very good. Of course, do hit us up with your... or hit me up. Let's speak about your favorite liveries. Oh, yeah. Is it quiet, please? Like Wimbledon? Anyway, as I take the role of race director for a short moment there, TSR Stick goes 5th fastest. Next up will be Splurge, I'm quite sure. But that does not look like a fast time whatsoever there, the 2:08.910. He certainly had some kind of problem there on his lap. Let's have a look here with... well, that's Digby. Next up is Martin. And that looking somewhat better. He's still got 10 seconds to make it across the line. Oh, and just as we join, TSR Martin massively outbrakes himself into the Casio triangle. And it's certainly not going to be a good time for him whatsoever. It's going to be way down the running order as well. Here comes Sam Digby, looking somewhat more presentable. Goes 4th fastest, not bad at all for him. Very close to the time of Joe of the Fire as well here. Limitless on an outlap. Halbstark on an outlap. Same goes for Obi-Wan at the moment. I'll Jimmy is the ultimate rebellious teenager in the TSR clan. Jimmy Wonder made that livery. I think he made this. Didn't Jimmy make them himself? Ryan with a really nice lap indeed, Maverick. It has to be said. We'll be back with the drivers still on here. Limitless opening up the tabs now for the one flying lap. And Martin, I take it what feels weird for Martin is coming from iRacing to GT Sport. And 6 minutes till race start. So we're getting closer there. Did Limitless run already? It's one way we can figure out, I think. To be fair, it doesn't seem like he's put in a lap already, well, for all I can see. So I think just have to give him the benefit of doubt. Oh, as he goes wide on the exit of the hairpin. And that is not gonna be an optimum lap for him whatsoever. Splurge, right now it seems Limitless is pretty much running. If he's doing parenting, it must be one of the kids driving the car. And if it's one of Limitless' kids driving this car, well, I don't know the age of these kids, but seems like they're doing a pretty decent job whatsoever. A very warm welcome to everyone joining in here at the late stages of the Super Bowl qualifying. We're having the last drivers getting their lap out of the way and over with. We're about 5 minutes away from race start, so dare I say you've joined us at just about the perfect time here at the TSR GT86 Cup, round 2 from Suzuka. Limitless goes 7th fastest so far. Next up to cross the line is Halbstag. And what will it be for the German? He's running Schasse's livery. It is not Schasse fast here. Race driver Obi-Wan though, 5th fastest. That is not bad at all. Not bad at all. So we have the grid order set for the race for tonight, and let's just have a quick look at it with TSR Ryan in his first race here on the channel, grabbing pole position in front of Schasse. Mind you, Schasse running 3% success ballast from last round from winning it. Joe of the Fire, the witty professor, in 3rd position. Sam Digby 4th, in front of Obi-Wan in 5th position. White Flight, the Norwegian, in 6th, in front of organizer TSR Stick, with Limitless, the TX3 driver, subbing in for Dr. Hash. He's 8th. Halbstag in 9th position with the Swedish survivor T5 Black in 10th. Jimmy's 11th. We have Martin all the way down in 12th position. And rounding off the grid, we have the Gwit rounding off the grid. And I'd speak like, what's he called? Ross, no, not Ross. I was about to say Ross Noble. That's not his name. Anyway, there's like this British comedian guy who can't even say his own name. And I don't remember what it is. Splurge, the 2nd, is 13th on the grid. And with that said, we should be getting close to it. 3 minutes away, so if you need anything before the race start, well, now it's the time to grab it. Otherwise, don't move a muscle, don't go anywhere, because the action will be hot. And this one make action from the TSR, well, the last round we had at Interlagos, it made for a hell of a show. I have rarely seen battles that good last for that long. 2 minutes now. We have the 2 minutes call from TSR Stick coming in. So, can we check BOP? We most certainly can. Just a check of everyone's BOP. Schasse with 16 extra kilos. Martin, he's running 4 extra kilos. And Joe is not running extra kilos. Oh, that's Wake who should be running extra kilos. And he's not here. Is he now? No, he's not. So that That explains. And brakes. Oh, if people are running, but that should be set. Like, okay, but we'll check if people are running ABS. Oh, T5. Good, we're checking. To whack, please. As you can see, I'm not super handy on like keyboard typing. Anyway, we're getting about a minute away from it, and it is very newbie. Let's find him. Where is he? T5, further down the order. There he is. T5 Black, number 79, the Subaru car. Yeah, Martin, I am a big dingus. I have a big dingus indeed. Anyway, like the dingus if you feel we're worthy of it. Of course, we're getting racing action underway in a very short moment now. I think the drivers should be returning to their seats. And we should have gentlemen, start your engine situation going on quite soon indeed. Oh! Good call. Good call indeed, Welsh. Good call. Where is Obi-Wan? And also everyone, how are you liking the 720p 60 frame per second? No more glitching out, no more pixel wars on your HTRG screens. FiberNet is here, certainly working better. We have T5, he's there. I think the grid should be good to go. So tension is rising now. We're getting closer and closer now to that magic moment. That off. That green, green, green. And it makes me sound like a hell of a dope smoker indeed. Oh, it isn't doing you any favors. Anyway, the race has started, or it's been... Oh, here it goes. 0 seconds. And we're underway. Ladies and gentlemen, the grid order is about to appear on your screen for a swift moment. Have a glance at it quickly while you can. There's the chance. It's Ryan in front of Shasha, Joe of the Fire, Sam Digby, Obi-Wan, White Flight, TSR Stick, Limited, Halstark, and T5 Black. And that is just the top 10. I'm not gonna try to make anything more out. That was almost Buster Rhymish. So, of course, when they go green, when it's off, well, they will be running down towards that tricky turn one, and here they go. And it's a brilliant start from Shasha, who gets a really good run on Ryan here. And at the same time, Joe of the Fire up the inside. Wang cam time here from Shasha already. Too wide with Joe of the Fire into turn 2. But hugging the inside line, everybody seemed to get away cleanly. So far at least. And that's good to see. So it is Shasha leading Joe of the Fire. Ryan not the best of starts. He's dropped down into 3rd place. Now pressuring the Witty Professor for 2nd. they're gonna be careful about letting Schosse out in front, because last round he just took off from that very position. White Flight is in 4th, it's Obi-Wan 5th, Sam Digby is in 6th position, Limitless down in 7th, TSR Stick in 8th at the moment, still very close here on the first of our 35 laps. And here, Joe of the Fire having a look into the chicane of Schosse, but also really just, I think, trying not to compromise himself too much, as there's a big snake of cars and a little bit of a gap down from White Flight to St. Digby, a little bit of a touch as well between Schosse and Joe of the Fire. He has his nose up the inside into Spoon curve, or the first part of it. Big speed though carried by Schosse, and he keeps a hold of first place for now. Ryan now the close company from White Flight here as they come down the back straight down towards 130R. I feel like someone's gonna try to make that dangerous move here. White Flight has the thought about it. Schosse goes defensive just to fend off any so-called good ideas from Joe of the Fire here as they're all making it into it. Let's have a look further down with Digby now up in 5th. It's Obi-Wan in 6th position here, Limitless still 7th. It's TSR Stick in 8th position, 9th it's Halstark, 10th is Splurge, and Martin 11th. And what about further down in the order, it's T5 Black and Jimmy. And I feel like the part with everybody being clean on the first lap haven't really come true. Oh, it's here Joe of the Fire going side by side with Ryan, and Schosse for the first corner. And it's of course Schosse, and he's taken the lead. So just with another look at it here on the outside into turn 1, certainly impressive, carrying the speed, maybe even a little bit of a touch between the two, but he certainly decisive there, Joe of the Fire, not thinking twice, and he's grabbed the lead there. And here Ryan follows up into 2nd position, and we shall indeed have another look on board with the TSR driver as he gets a much better run through Dunlop, seemingly getting it done before getting down to the Deckners, where it sounds like Jimmy has had contact with T5 on the first lap. That's of course sad to hear. Also, the battling out in front has led the rest of the pack back here now. Sam Digby in 5th position on the back of White Flight. Not too close back, it's Limitless and Obi-Wan. Joe of the Fire here, look at that 710. Oh, what's happening here for Ryan? Huge moment for TSR Ryan. And surely that's going to cost him down the straight here. Gonna have another look at it shortly. Down through 130R. I think here the losses are going to stop. They're very close into the Casio triangle this time around. Oh, and Ryan does indeed send it. Good move from the TSR driver on to take back 4th place. It's effectively 3rd place, I guess. Let's just see. I think another look at what happened to Ryan on the exit from Spoon. It just goes wide, loses the tail, manages to catch it, but the situation lost. Ryan back up with the 3rd there. It's still very, very, very close here. Limitless running 6th, just 3 seconds down. Although out in front you see that first car, that red car of Joe of the Fire, the witty professor. He studied his way to it. Although he told me he came here without any real practice. He's found his pace from the off pretty much, and now he's beginning to make the rest of the field suffer in behind. Seems like he's put Schosse out of the slipstream at the moment at least. So here he is, Joe of the Fire, with a 1.3 second advantage down to Schosse there in 2nd. And it's kind of stretching out in front. And then it's all bunching up behind White Flight in fourth at the moment here. It's Sam Digby having a look up the inside into Spoon, and he's going to make the move. He's going to send it. Oh, and there was a little bit of contact there in between Limitless and White Flight, and then a bit of argy-bargying as well here. Let's just have another look at that situation from the wing cam of White Flight, the Norwegian. Just that little bit of a tap. Did you hear that? A bit of contact both back and front. Well, that is what happens at times. And now you've just got to wonder what just happened up in front, because it seems someone just disappeared completely. It's all good. Okay, okay. I'm confused for a short moment there. But situation still Joe of the Fire leading now by 1.5 seconds down to Schutte. Chased pretty closely by TSR Ryan in third. It's White Flight in fourth. It's Obi-Wan fifth at the moment. And let's see, that battle for fourth position is really heating up. Look at that. It's 3 cars within, well, pretty much half a second, I guess. Oh, so it was, yeah, indeed. Welsh, nice spot that I wasn't completely off. Digby did indeed disappear, and where is he now? He's all the way down in 12th position. Sam Digby on his outlap after picking up damage, clearly visible on the rear part of the car there. Not optimal whatsoever here. Now side by side is White Flight with Obi-Wan as they come out the hairpin. I think the Norwegian has the better run into 200R. We're on lap 4 and already plenty of good action here. It's still pretty close between the top 3. Now the 3.5 second split down to these 3 cars, battling very closely at the moment here. We're going to go on board with the wang cam of White Flight, having a look down at that scrap between the 2 Germans. Now Limitless getting a good run, or rather it's Obi-Wan getting a very bad run out of Spoon there. And he loses out on 5th place, right in between, or right in behind these couple of drivers. It's another German making his way up to him. It's Halbstack. You see the cars getting twitchy there on the braking. That is, of course, the weaker ABS. Not as useful in keeping the tires from locking up. And that's, of course, not really helping the balance of the cars in all situations anyways. Here in 8th position at the moment, it's TSR Stick defending from Splurge and Martin. And Martin, of course, in 10th position at the moment with that extra ballast. Oh, a stick goes off big time. TSR Stick into turn 1. Just went a tad too wide. He went spinning all the way around, parked it the wrong way around in the gravel. It's going to cost him a big load of time. Poor luck for TSR Stick, indeed. And a very certain Greek man will be very familiar with that sensation of having the outside rear tire just touch something that doesn't grip on the car, starting to do these ballet pirouettes. Schutte having closed the gap a little bit up to Joe of the Fire, so it's by no means over yet. Ryan still also within contention. In 4th place then at the moment, Limitless, but they've lost 5 seconds, and that's just up to Ryan. So the top 3 kind of running away with it. Obi-Wan getting very squiddly there on the exit of Spoon. They've put in a little time to Halbstack as well. Let's go on board with Obi-Wan here. He's quite close to the bumper of Limitless in front. Doesn't seem to carry as much speed through 130R. Then breaking it well into this heavy braking zone. Oh, goes a little sideways through the Casio triangle, and that costs him. Oh. And as you see here, just about 0.6 of a second off as they cross the line, so he's not going to be able to make a move whatever here. So this is White Flight, who's fallen all the way down into 8th. Now battling Splurge, who just seems to turn in on the Norwegian there. See what's up the inside. Cannot really make himself disappear in that situation. Just another look here. You see White Flight more or less side by side. A little turn in there, a little nudge, but no real harm done. And they can continue battling. White Flight up into 7th. Joe of the Fire status quo. Ryan has lost a little bit of time, but still within 2.5 seconds of the race lead. So still very much all to play for. And then Limitless and Obi-Wan in this battle for 4th. Then behind it's Halbstark, White Flight and Splurge. Halbstark trying to keep up with the 2 cars in front. As you can see, he seems to be suffering ever so slightly with the car at the moment here as White Flight takes a big spin in Spoon. Fettles off completely. Turns it around, back on track. We're just gonna have another look at whatever happened to the Norwegian there. Entrance to Spoon here. Oh, it just goes wide. Yeah. What I described before happening to TSR Stick. Well, there's pretty much a carbon copy. And the Norwegian here pulled off here, and he's now down into 9th place. That's suboptimal for a driver who was running in the top 5 only laps ago. Here is Joe of the Fire. And look at that Schosse now within a second. So Schosse certainly seeming to having kept something back in the fight against Joe of the Fire. He's just peeled off an additional 0.2 of a second up through the S's here as they make their way through Dunlop. I mean, he's still going massively quicker on this lap. Schosse, it's incredible to see. The pace difference here is it's quite staggering. And he's really put Ryan out behind as well, as he's now pressuring the Witty Professor for the race lead. And no doubt that Joe of the Fire will have his hands full for this one. Schosse now within 0.4 of a second as they enter Spoon yet again. On the 7th lap of racing. So a 5th of the way through. And look at this into 130R. He could almost reach out of his door and touch Joe of the Fire's car. He held off ever so slightly there, I think, just taking a somewhat safe approach to the braking zone of the Casio triangle. I think Schosse might just be knowing that he can take it easy here. It's interesting that Schosse takes a wide line on that exit, maybe just to save the tires. Of course, both Schosse and Joe of the Fire are running the racing softs for the first part of the race. Be interesting just to see who's running what. We've got T5 on the mediums. We've got Jimmy on the mediums. We've got Digby here. He's on the softs. Stick on the mediums. We've got White Flight on softs. Here's Martin. He's on the mediums, so he could be expected to pick up the pace the last part of the race. Looking pretty consistent, TSR Martin. Here's here's Splurge, of course. He's on the mediums as well. Same goes for Halbstark. And there is Obi-Wan on the softs, and that I think goes for the rest of the field. Just to get that overview here, Joe of the Fire still holding on. He's pushed back his advantage to around about a second. Just have to consider whether Shoss is now just settling in to the pace of Joe of the Fire. Just thinking about matching it and then taking him on strategy. We'll have to see what the German does. Ryan still third, but he's fallen somehow back here as Limitless is very close to Obi-Wan yet again, or it's actually the other way around. It's Obi-Wan right on the tail as they come up to 130R, and that big braking zone still he has to hold off. Limitless. Well, if there's no limit, how are you supposed to find it? He's very much on it there on the exit of 130R. Obi-Wan gets a very good run here, and I think we will have positions changing. It all depends on how much Limitless wants to go defensive. This run isn't as big as I would have expected it to be here. As they come down towards turn 1, he is up the inside and he does indeed send it. And he does make the pass stick up into 4th place. It is Obi-Wan. Very good move indeed. Let's just have another look from the onboard cam here from race driver Obi-Wan. Doesn't even seem to be on the limit in that situation. Does very well to just keep it in. And he's kept ahead up through the S's. See in behind, they seem to be quite close as well. Splurge, Martin, Wide Flight, Stick, and then there's a little bit of a gap down to Digby as well. Up in front, Shosse has now gotten close to Joe of the Fire yet again. It seems to be swinging back and forth ever so slightly in front. Surely Shosse hasn't really been able to make anything materialize on the Brit, who really has found his rhythm in this race. Started off so brilliantly. And Ryan, who came from that pole position, would have wanted more, but he's actually found himself just ever so slightly off the pace of the 2 leaders now, and on a little bit of an island as well. As there's still a close scrabble here for 4th place between Obi-Wan and Limitless. And into the Casio triangle the 2 leaders go. Very steady and consistent looking at the lap times of the 2 leaders. Steady mid 207s. Seems it's been this way for most this race. Shosse got very close to Joe of the Fire through turns 1 and 2, and now they're moving up through the SS. Oh, he gets right on the tail here. And I think there is a little bit of a nudge, but it's virtually impossible to overtake a car that isn't making great mistakes here. I think he gets a very good run through through Dunlop. And they're side by side. A little bit of a squeeze. Another squeeze from Joe of the Fire. Do what he can to keep ahead. Down through the Deckners, and he does stay ahead indeed. But a brilliant scrap, I think. Just might not last any more than this, as they're still side by side up to the hairpin. Couldn't really decide. It looked like Shosse was actually ahead for a moment. Joe of the Fire, though, what a brilliant show of defense as he stays ahead all the way through here. Just another shot of this one. Slight squeeze there. They then go too wide through the hairpin. And Joe of the Fire manages to place himself in a position where there just is no passing for Chasse. Still right on the bumper, down towards 130R now. Still Joe of the Fire hanging on well, it has to be said. Ryan in behind. Well, look at the gap. It's certainly diminishing for every time they go side by side. The drivers behind really catching up. Halstag, there's a big gap down to... Oh, Martin has gotten well past on both White Flight, and I think it seems Jimmy has made some kind of mistake indeed. Just down into 13th place. Poor luck for the Scotsman. Love to see him do well. Joe of the Fire still just hanging on. It's still very close indeed. You're left with a feeling that should Chasse get ahead, would indeed be a little difficult for Joe of the Fire to return the favor. He's defending with valiance, though. He's really holding up well, Joe of the Fire, for the time being. Will it be any move here into Spoon? I think Chasse is just too far back to make it materialize. He hasn't been making mistakes yet, Joe of the Fire. And isn't really prone to that kind of thing whatsoever. So on board again with Chasse. Just gets shown no mercy from the witty professor in front. Just isn't able to carry the same speed. There's whatever lack of downforce it might be when you're very close to the car in front through the high-speed corners. And yet again, I think he might just be too far back to actually make anything materialize coming into turn one. Very much think they are. Here's Ryan coming into the pits. So first of the soft starters to pit in, and I'd expect him to exit on the mediums. The thing is that he has the rest of the race to do on the mediums. It'll amount to 24 laps, 23 laps of racing. I think he's actually out on the... Oh, it is the mediums indeed for Ryan, who rejoins in 6th position as we rejoin the two leaders. And yet again, side by side through Dunlop. This time Chasse with a better run on Joe of the Fire, and he might just get it, I think. And he's got it. Chasse is in front. Although Joe of the Fire got a good run here, down towards the hairpin. He's having a look. Oh, and he's not quite sending it. Trying to get early on the throttle here. Will it be enough? That is indeed the question. Great battle these two are having for themselves here. Joe of the Fire now on the outside into Spoon. No grip really, it seems, out there. Here he loses out big time on the exit. We're gonna have another look at that situation from before. Chasse again able to get a better run through Dunlop, just using that speed to get alongside, get his nose in front, and then outbrake the witty professor into the first of the two Decklers. Getting a little bit slidey in the second, losing time out, and that enabled Joe of the Fire to get right back at him. although he got put on the outside and there was nowhere to go really. Turned out being a long run indeed at the end, this one. And Joe of the Fire next to pit in. The softs are already really beginning to go. You could really see that pace difference in the advantage of Schutte, who seemed to be just that little bit better of keeping the tires alive. Those soft tires, not a lot of life in them here. Obi-Wan now running second, Limitless in third, Halfstack fourth, Joe of the Fire. Where does he get out again? He gets out in fifth position. See how much clear of Ryan, because that's kind of interesting. 3.5 seconds, so Ryan hasn't lost on pitting somewhat early here. White flight comes in from his position down the order. Same goes for Digby. So sure, it'll be interesting to see how long the longest stretchers, so to say, of the soft runners will be able to stretch their stints, although I am expecting them to come in soon indeed. And Schutte indeed, well, is having a fantastic race so far. And he did win last time out at Interlagos, so he's also the one carrying those 3% extra weight. Let's see if he comes in this time around. Stays out. Impressive here, Obi-Wan. Through the triangle as well. Stays out as well. Limitless, the same. Halfstack comes in his next. He's 19 seconds down almost on Schutte in the lead here at the moment. He stays out as well. And then next up is Joe of the Fire. Interesting to see how his pace compares to that of Schutte in the lead, because if he's faster on these fresh mediums, as he might very well be, he could be in for an undercut on Schutte here. And of course, another victory for Schutte is really going to put him into the hurt zone of success ballast. That's how it is. That's how it's supposed to be. It's only going to make it harder for him. But of course, the leading four hasn't pit. Then we've seen Joe of the Fire and Ryan, who has pitted. Then we've seen Stick and Martin. But they're running the mediums. We expect them to do a somewhat longer stint, if not a much longer stint, than those starting on the softs. Be very interesting to see how far they can carry what they're running, as we're getting close to the halfway distance. Exactly there yet. With about half an hour's worth of racing gone here, we're watching TSR Martin. He's running in 8th position. That qualifying sessions could seem to be a night to forget for Martin, at least results-wise. That don't mean you can have no fun. He's chasing Stick at the moment, and I'm sure they'll cherish their moments together. Cherish whatever love they have. My little song name dropping. What's up, Emilius? Nice to have you along. I indeed do really love the 86. The Hachiroku Group 4 car is a wonderful machine. It's one of the best cars in GT Sport to drive, in my opinion. I really like it, and I think it's a really cool machine. And the 86 in general is just a really, really cool car. And every time I see one in real life, I'm always like, that's just a cool, like, it's a proper sports car. It's affordable, it's fun, it's understated like it should be, not too much. It's very nice. So Obi-Wan seems to have really closed the gap up to Shasa. I'm interested to see just what that last lap of his was. 2:11.2, so he's had a big off here on the last lap, and Joe of the Fire has gained 4 seconds. Chances are that once they have the pit round over with, once we've had Shasa in, Joe of the Fire will be leading this one. The thing is though, is Shasa going to be aiming for a one-stop here? I think he might just be. No doubt the softs on that car is really going to be getting worn by now, but if you can cut off an entire pit stop, that's really going to aid him. Joe of the Fire is going to go a lot faster. And all those having to two-stop, they're going to have to do the rest of the race. That last bit of racing on the hards. And that sure as hell is going to make it difficult for him to gain too much on anyone running a fresh, or relatively fresh, just set of mediums. It all, of course, depends whether Shasa will be able to get that far on half a tank of fuel or not. We're looking at him to do 18 laps then on a tank full. That's going to be easily done. So fuel-wise, it's going to be no problem whatsoever to pull off that one-stopper. That's only going to be a question of making the tires last, go the distance. Limitless has fallen back on Obi-Wan. Halbstack beginning to fall into the clutches of Joe of the Fire. There were still 3.5 seconds between them, more or less. And Ryan has been catching up to Joe of the Fire as well. So it could all be very much open, very much to play for. Although I think Shasa, with that one stop, might be in for that extra advantage. I think Obi-Wan, Limitless, and Halbstack, if all those Germans are one-stopping, it's going to be a serious challenge for Joe of the Fire and Ryan to get the better of him. As they so, I'm convinced. But let's now see. It's been interesting so far. I'm sure it will continue to be so for the rest of this race. We are getting closer and closer to the half the race gone marker. Not entirely there yet, but sure close. Stick here in 7th. Still running his original mediums, but with a 19.7 second gap to close up to Ryan in front. And of course a pit stop less, but that'll also probably be a one-stop strategy for both Stick and Martin. I'm quite sure of this. See Shasa's lap time this time around certainly is suffering. 2:08.7. And Joe of the Fire has certainly caught up to Halbstack over this last lap. It's gone over 2 seconds faster. And what is this lap gonna be for the witty professor? We're just gonna have a look. As Limitless is in the pits, Joe of the Fire doesn't even gain that much here on the medians. Of course, they're not completely fresh anymore. As they come on to lap 17, it's really looking good for Shasa at the moment, it has to be said. Limitless is coming back out. And he's gonna have ample space down to Stick there in 7th position. So no real problem there. As Joe of the Fire now catching up to Halbstack. And the question is gonna make it a problem for him. Of course, Halbstack, a teammate of Shasa. And the two very similar TX3 cars, actually both of them number 12. Here's Joe of the Fire is determined, I think, to get that battle done with and get it out of the way as quickly as possible here into the hairpin. I think Halbstack holds off, sees that it's useless to resist. And that's an old one indeed. Oh, Halbstack though staying within the slipstream. He surely won't try something into Spoon, and he doesn't. What he does do, it gets immediately detached from the back of Joe of the Fire. Aims for a good exit, but just isn't able to carry the speed through the corners. He loses out on 0.8 of a second. Here it comes. Shasa pits in exactly halfway through, and that's you know, that's probably a pretty good call for him, and that also states his intentions pretty clearly when stretching a set of soft tires for half a race. Now it'll be interesting to see just where he exits. He's had that bad lap at some point that cost him around 3 seconds. It's now Obi-Wan, who hasn't pitted yet, and he is behind Joe of the Fire. And I think indeed, certainly he is indeed also behind TSR Ryan. So the question is, will Joe of the Fire and Ryan have plans of going all the way to the end with this or not? Oh, Joe of the Fire, what's happened to hear him? He's lost some time up through the S's. Went somewhat slowly. We're on board with the Witty Professor. Oh, he's gone off. And that's an explanation